Welcome back to the channel. This is Universal Insight on the latest news from around the world. The sun rises over Iowa, painting the landscape with hues of gold and promise. But this dawn is different. The fields are silent and empty, devoid of the life they once held. Tractors sit idle, rusting monuments to a bygone era. Barns gather dust, their purpose forgotten. And the air is heavy with uncertainty, a palpable sense of dread hanging over the heartland. Once these fields fed the world, a testament to American ingenuity and agricultural prowess. Now they're a stark symbol of a heartland in crisis, a warning sign of a system under immense strain. The crisis extends far beyond the fields. At the port of New Orleans, the usual bustle is gone, the vibrant energy replaced by an unsettling stillness. No ships, their hulls silent and motionless. No cargo, the containers standing empty, a monument to stalled trade. Just silence, a deafening reminder of what has been lost. The collapse isn't a blip, a temporary downturn in the market. It's a historic breakdown of the system, a catastrophic failure in the intricate web that connected American farms to global markets. Generations of farmers face debt and foreclosure, the weight of their ancestors' legacy crushing them. Their livelihoods severed almost overnight, their dreams turned to dust. The question is no longer just how did this happen? A search for blame in the wreckage, but what comes next? A desperate plea for a path forward. This is more than economics. It's a cultural earthquake, shaking the very foundations of rural America. It's about the identity of a nation, the values and traditions that have shaped its character. A nation that once proudly called itself the world's breadbasket, a symbol of abundance and prosperity. The emptiness here is a powerful symbol, a visual representation of a deeper malaise, of a larger void in the American economy and spirit, a sense of loss and disillusionment. We're here to uncover the forces behind this crisis, to dissect the complex factors that led to this point, and its human toll, the stories of the families and communities struggling to survive. The numbers coming in paint a grim picture. They are not just concerning, they are downright staggering. U.S. farm exports, the lifeblood of many rural communities, have experienced a catastrophic drop of 90%. And this isn't a decline that's been unfolding over years. This dramatic downturn has occurred in just 18 short months. Soybean exports, a major agricultural product, have been hit particularly hard, falling a staggering 95%. The corn market hasn't fared much better, with exports plummeting by 92%. And wheat, another staple crop, has seen a devastating drop of 88%. Silos are full to the brim, overflowing with grain, but the markets that once clamored for these products are simply gone. The livelihoods of countless farmers and their families have vanished, leaving behind a trail of economic devastation. The speed and severity of this collapse blindsided everyone, catching even seasoned experts off guard. What started as a slow, manageable decline quickly accelerated, turning into a terrifying freefall. Commodity prices have crashed across the board, sending shockwaves through the agricultural sector, and the entire supply chain, the intricate network that brings food from the farm to our tables, from the companies that supply seeds and fertilizers to the truckers who transport the harvest, is teetering on the brink of collapse, facing unprecedented strain. This isn't simply a bad season plagued by unfavorable weather, or a single failed deal gone sour. It's a fundamental and potentially irreversible shift in the global food system, a paradigm shift that demands our immediate attention. For decades, the world has relied heavily on the consistent output and reliability of American farms. But now, that era of unquestioned dominance is definitively over, leaving a void in the global market. The critical question now is this: is this a temporary storm that we can weather, or does this represent a permanent and irreversible change to the landscape of global agriculture? The ripple effects of this agricultural crisis are just beginning to hit the wider economy, threatening to destabilize markets and industries far beyond the farm. America's long-held agricultural dominance has been shattered, leaving a fragmented and uncertain future in its wake. The roots of this crisis trace back to escalating trade wars. Tariffs and retaliation made American crops expensive and unreliable. Longtime buyers quickly found new suppliers, signing deals that excluded the U.S. The trade wars built a wall around American agriculture, cutting it off from key markets. Meanwhile, the world shifted. Nations formed new alliances, built regional supply chains, and prioritized food security. The pandemic exposed the fragility of global supply lines, accelerating the move away from U.S. dependence. America's reputation as a reliable supplier was lost. Buyers want stability, not political risk. The 90% collapse is the result of a global search for reliability. The world stopped putting all its eggs in America's basket. With the US sidelined, global agriculture has a new map. Brazil has become the world's top supplier, rapidly expanding production and infrastructure. China and Europe have locked in long-term contracts with Brazil, cementing its new role. Argentina, Ukraine, and Russia have also surged, offering competitive prices and stable supply. Food importing nations now invest directly in foreign farmland and infrastructure, bypassing traditional markets. Closed-loop supply chains guarantee food security for buyers, leaving the US out. Emerging suppliers use advanced technology, precision agriculture, drones, and climate-adapted crops. They're building a more resilient, efficient system from scratch. The world has found not just new farmers, but more nimble and forward-thinking ones. America faces a long-term challenge to ever regain its former dominance. While trade wars raged, climate extremes battered the American heartland. Mega-droughts turned fertile plains to dust, rivers dried up, crippling irrigation and transport. Elsewhere, floods and hurricanes destroyed crops and infrastructure. Farmers face water shortages and unpredictable weather, making each season a gamble. Yields have plummeted, and what little is produced is harder to sell. Logistical chaos, low rivers, damaged roads, makes exports even tougher. America's reputation as a reliable producer is gone. Buyers see only risk. Other regions offer more stable, subsidized, or climate-resilient production. The climate crisis has tipped the scales, accelerating the flight of buyers. America's heartland is now a question mark, not the world's breadbasket. Behind the cold, hard numbers that we often see in reports and statistics, there are real people. These are individuals, families, and entire communities whose lives are deeply intertwined with the fate of American agriculture. Farmers like John Peterson, who are now facing the devastating reality of foreclosure and the crushing weight of despair. They represent the human cost of an agricultural system under immense pressure. Silos are full to the brim, overflowing with grain, a testament to the land's bounty. But paradoxically, there's no viable market to sell it, creating a bottleneck that strangles the livelihoods of those who toiled to produce it. Families are being forced to relinquish land that has been held and lovingly cultivated for generations, severing ties to their heritage and a way of life passed down through countless years. The impact of these farm closures extends far beyond the fields, as bankruptcies send shockwaves that ripple through the fragile economies of rural towns, undermining their very foundations. Businesses are closing their doors one by one as the lifeblood of the community slowly drains away, leaving behind empty storefronts and shattered dreams. Schools, once vibrant hubs of learning and community, are now shuttered, their classrooms silent, reflecting the exodus of families and the decline of rural populations. And hospitals, the vital institutions that provide essential healthcare services, are also succumbing to the economic pressures, further exacerbating the crisis in rural healthcare access. Young people, the future of these communities, are leaving in droves, seeking opportunities elsewhere, further accelerating the cycle of decline and diminishing hopes for revitalization. And as a result, communities are hollowing out, losing their social fabric and their sense of identity, leaving behind a landscape of abandoned homes and fading memories. For city consumers, often disconnected from the realities of agriculture, this crisis translates into long-term risks that could impact their access to affordable and reliable food sources. It means less resilient food supplies, making urban populations more vulnerable to disruptions and shocks in the agricultural system, potentially leading to shortages and price increases. As farms close across the nation, America will inevitably become more reliant on food imports from other countries, increasing our dependence on global supply chains. This leaves us facing the very same supply chain risks and vulnerabilities that have plagued other sectors, making our food security susceptible to international events and disruptions. The future of U.S. agriculture hangs in the balance, shrouded in uncertainty, as we stand at a critical crossroads that will determine the fate of our food system. The question remains, can American agriculture innovate and adapt to the changing landscape, embracing new technologies and sustainable practices, or is this the beginning of a managed decline? The answers to these questions will profoundly shape not just the lives of farmers and their families, who are the backbone of our food system, but also America's overall standing and influence in the world, as a major player in global food production and trade. The era of unquestioned American dominance in agriculture, a period marked by unparalleled productivity and innovation, is undeniably over. The silent, empty fields that we may see in 2025 send a clear and stark message about the consequences of inaction and the urgent need for change. America's seat at the global table, its ability to influence international agricultural policy and ensure global food security, is no longer guaranteed and must be actively defended.